Well, we are a lot of people in this session, so very nice. Jean, you're the first, and we have Ingo, and we have Arne, and we have Martin, and we have Rainer. So guys, can you please turn on your cameras and microphones again? Hello, Ingo.
Hi, Martin.
And
hi, everyone.
I'm jealous now because I can see that Arne and Rainer, they having a very relaxing time in the floating chairs. Are you also drinking beers, guys?
Keep that for later.
Keep that for later. And I know Ingo, he told me that it's very unfair that I say this live, but I take my chances with you because you said you were nervous. You should not be nervous. You're with good friends here, right?
Yes.
And Martin, this is the first time that you and I and Jean, we meet you in I was just about to say in person. That is not true, but
the new person, the new in person.
The new type of person, yeah. This session is, I have looked particularly forward to this one because I have actually enjoyed all the sessions we have seen so far. But what I like about this session, I was when I called Ingo a couple of weeks ago and we started talking about this, I think that if neither of us had stopped, we could have been talking or still talking, right, Ingo?
That's a problem, yeah.
So, Martin, when you first started talking to Ingo, did you get as intrigued as I did?
Yeah. It's some interesting history which we are now going to dive into.
Mm-hmm. And Rainer and Arne, when did you meet Ingo for the first time?
In 2012, I think we started our discussion and our visions about what's now my life and what we want to talk about. So it's already a journey that we have taken together.
Fantastic. And Ingo, as you are my entrance point to this session here, I would like you to, before we have the presentation, and I would tell you that it's not very often that you get presentations delivered to the moderator 10 minutes before the session starts. So I have not reviewed anything. So that was why, Jean, and Jean, that was why I left you just in the last session because I had to. No,
life is life.
Yeah, life is life. Ingo, you work for a publishing group called Burda. Yeah. And it's kind of fun because I know Burda from magazines doing knitting and back in Scandinavia 10 years ago. And Jean is from South Africa. She have never heard about Burda. And then when you look at your website and you also talk to, you are actually a quite large publishing company. You are a quite large printing company as well. And your role was, and also to quote yourself, is kind of disruptor. You are the publisher that challenges the industry in Germany. Can you tell us a little bit about that part?
Yeah, this is true, and it goes all back to our publisher Hubert Burda himself. He is a disruptor of the industry. If you look back to the 90s when he launched the Focus in Germany, which is one of the main news magazines, weekly news magazines, and by the time we had in Germany two major magazines, Stern and Spiegel, which were published weekly, and nobody made it to enter this market and to enter this monopole or duopole. And so Hubert Burda managed with Focus a big step in, and it's now a big brand. And so I think it's a little bit the DNA of Burda to conquer monopoles and to challenge the guys in some industries or in some categories. And so probably we have a small, I would say, case also to tell today. We will see. Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to take away the presentation now, and then we can ask more questions afterwards?
Yes, of course. So I think we start. I gear the presentation on my own, because we have.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. I have uploaded all I have uploaded all your
That's great.
presentation slides. So if you click on slides and if you look at the video, you can just look at the videos there as well.
Yeah, because we do this the first time and together with Cardis and with Martin for months, and so it's new for us, and we have different presentations and different parts. But let me come back to our title of the presentation. We called it "The Story of My Life."
Gene and I will. Sorry to interrupt you. Gene and I will turn off the camera, but we are
Yeah.
here all the time, so we will hear you and can ask questions after. Okay.
Great. And my life, to make this clear from the beginning, it's not about my life. My personal life would be probably boring for an hour, or the life of my colleagues. It's about the product we're gonna tell you about, and the solution we set up for that in a minute. But Morten, as you told me, the audience and you are also interested in the humans behind and the people behind these stories and these sessions, and so please give me the chance to pop a little bit back in my professional life in printing industry to explain how we came to the solution we present, or the product we present today. And again, thank you for inviting. I think it might be interesting and hopefully inspiring for some of the people outside there. And we have a small case study, as I said, later on, and also a lot of technical details, which we'll present Cardis and months later on. Coming to my story about this is my educational background is industrial engineering and a Master of Business Administration. And so I fall into the printing industry coming from a, let's say, junior position as a production engineer out of the automotive segment. And this was 18 years ago, probably. And to be honest, I had no clue about printing and the problem or challenging challenges in the printing industry, and probably don't have today also. But I was lucky. I took a position as an assistant to the board of Avato Bertelsmann in these days. And Avato Bertelsmann was in these days the industrial part of Bertelsmann, and they provided services in logistics, business process outsourcing, marketing, and of course printing. And by the time, I think it was roughly 4 billion euro company, and 50% out of the turnover was coming, I think, from printing services. And so I was thrilled from major projects from my boss and the big projects the company had in front of us. We were, by the time, we were pushing KBA to develop the Formula 30 technology in gravure, and we had greenfield projects in Italy, UK, and so on, and also a big consolidation project in the gravure business in Germany together with Axel Springer and Trona and Jahr. And but beside all of these major projects, we had also an important customer for us, with whom we printed, I think, roughly 200 million magazines per year. And they have still have a special business model in distributing their magazines via pharmacies in Germany. And the pharmacy business in Germany it's I think a little bit special, at least compared to the US, and probably I come later on to that. But as we see, we had this high volume print run there, and at the end it was broken down into, let's say, 25, 50, 100 magazines, by individualizing them on the backside of the magazine, individualizing with the information of the outlet or of the pharmacy there. And this was done by the time, and I think it's still done by in this process by flexo printing in the mailing room, and traditional imprint, 1 or 2 colors, and packed and shipped to roughly 20,000 customers out there. And so this major customer, a quite impressive person, who was well treated from all of our top management and all the shareholders at Bertelsmann, and he always pushed us and my bosses, my predecessors, and also me, to innovate this process into a, let's say, 4-color good quality variable data imprint, of course, with no or probably few extra costs. And so now most of you out there may say, what's the problem? And so did I at the time. And I remember now, I think it was Drupa 2004, when we accessed all the exhibitors with great development in digital printing. And to make this clear at the point, we appreciate all the really great machines which are out there and probably also presented in this week. And we're still in deep discussions with all of the suppliers, and we appreciate working with partners with let's say the equipment they installed. Doesn't matter, from HP, from Ricoh, from Canon, great machines out there, great developments, mostly for full individualization. But we investigated this market at the time, and so we took our customer to Drupa, talked to everybody, explained our little problem to innovate the process of having a 4-color imprint on the backside of a cover of a high-volume print run magazine. And to make long story short, answer was everywhere the same, I think. They said, yes, guys, that's not a problem. Send us some samples, and we test them, and afterwards we get a solution from you, and you get an offer, and then we're going to invest to install and so on. Okay, and I think with that, my odyssey through the jungle of the digital printing started, because we sent it out samples, and mostly we received back samples which weren't even able to show the customer due to quality and so on. And secondly, when we started price discussion, there was no way to exchange this existing process. So we followed this for years, and I don't want to tell too much about, but it changed. I think it was a Bahn IFRA meeting. Arne just mentioned 2012 or 2011. I think it was in Hamburg. And when we ran into the booth of Vivac Polytype at the time, and again I brought a customer, and then we met this guy who will introduce himself in a minute. And again we had the meeting, and we the customer and me, we told our story, what we want to do, what we want to innovate, 4-color on the back side, and this changed because these guys, I think Mr. Ruth was with Rainer, they said, that's not so easy what you're telling us, and if you look on the cost side, it's even not more easy. So we need to analyze the whole process. We interested, we need to analyze the whole process, and so I said this interesting because they don't say it's possible and it's easy. We need to analyze this in a deeper way and look on the whole process of production, and this is probably the learning also for the whole story. We today look on ecosystems, on the whole supply chain, and this is what we developed together with Cardis, and I think they should now introduce themselves, what experience they have, and then later on we talk about the technical solution and the business case behind, as I said, my life. And from this day on, I shared a great enthusiasm together in fighting and arguing about inkjet and about digital printing and processes with Rainer Kötzer. And please, Rainer, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Ingo. I'm the founder from Cardis. Ingo and I shared the same vision for the market and from the technical point of view. With Buddha, we have found a partner who gives us the trust to make it successful. The foundation of my professional past comes from the printing industries and from the mechanical engineering for digital printing. Our first major partnership project with Ingo formed the basis of our specific business model. I think Arne will explain the technical details. I need to talk to Arne.
Yeah, my name is Arne Ditscher, and I'm the technical director of CADIS. I've been doing the inkjet road trip together with Rainer since 2003. At that time, or from the beginning of our activities with inkjet, we were convinced that the benefits out of inkjet printing are not generated in the printing plant. We think that most of the advantages come out of the integration into converting and production processes. So our journey started in 2003, where we have realized at that time working for the Körber Group, together with Kodak and Kolbos, an integrated book production system made for small order sizes, but at very high volumes, meeting at that time already the requirements of a mass production combined with customization. Our next step was refract polytype, where we developed our first wide web single pass inkjet solution in CMYK, and with the 600 dpi piezo technology. And Ingo was mentioning it, that was also the time around 2012 when we started our discussions and sharing our visions towards the individualization of a magazine and the future of the printed product of a magazine. And we developed together, so we got started and developed a machine platform that can be integrated in various configurations into a complete production line. In parallel, and with the rise or development of further technologies regarding printheads, inks, and other technologies, we are intensified and concentrated also on different industry sectors, especially for direct-to-shape printing. Like we have realized one project together with Programmatic, where we print on three-dimensional surfaces for 3D puzzles, direct-to-blister printing for the pharmaceutical market, and we are active now very intensively in the automotive sector for direct-to-interior printing to replace the in-mold design process by inkjet. Having done all of this, we came very early to the conclusion that the requirements of machinery and of process handling, of automation, high quality product handling is one additional key in combination with inkjet to be successful in the market. And so we came to the Mansabi. We have done some projects together before, and we felt that we share the same strategy for the future markets of inkjet until we now finally ended up with a strategic partnership, so that Mans invested with some interest in CADIS, looking at future markets also towards functional printing, direct-to-shape printing, but I think Martin can explain this area and these strategies also much better than I do.
Yeah, let me jump in there. Yeah, a few words to myself. I'm an electronic device within Mans, responsible for technology and driving all topics regarding industrialization, automation, and especially digitalization. So those are basically our main topics which we contribute to the discussion with CADIS, and we are basically the guys doing the material handling. beyond the material flow, which is dominated by roll-to-roll applications. I'm bringing into that game my background of mechanical engineering, working a lot of topics on digitalization, Industry 4.7 or Internet of Things topics during my PhD with Fraunhofer. However, printing is something partly new to me. I bring some experience back from automotive business applications, even working with Exton for semiconductor applications, and being with Manz since 2016, I think. Yeah, 2016, working on handling and automation solutions for the final assembly of products, really having a wide range. Yeah, maybe a few words towards Manz to give you an idea of what kind of background we are bringing into the discussion now. Manz is a company with a long history, starting with solar business applications, growing through that solar business, surviving the solar turn down, doing a lot of applications in consumer electronics, for example, working with Apple for recent years, a number of years, and now being quite driven into electromobility, machinery for production systems, and other applications, basically battery manufacturing, battery pack manufacturing, electromobility applications, consumer applications, everything which works with single parts, which are distributed through the production system and finally ending up being a valid product at the end. Manz is a company with a footprint which is global, so we are used to install worldwide. So we have a distribution net for our service in order to be able to handle projects everywhere in the world. With about 1,500 employees worldwide, we are, for an automation company, not huge, but we are one of the largest probably. And therefore, we are quite capable to do larger project sizes in the plus 10 million range, 50 million range. Even for solar business, we did some in 100 million plus range, which gives us a quite good footprint. What we bring into that game is clearly our history of solar business. We're still doing the solar, not the silicon-based, but the thin film-based. We do have energy storage applications, like I mentioned before, machinery to manufacture battery cells, battery packs, battery modules. The electronic business, which ranges from smartwatches up to laptops, displays, which we do in Taiwan, and other electronic components, which are then mixed over different branches. We have a quite good manufacturing infrastructure and network, so that we can as well do it, basically contract manufacturing and service application side. From the automation point of view, we are doing solutions. Our solution firms are coping with small products up to large products, which can be a single machine up to a full production site, covering all kinds of process steps. So we are really used to do custom specific processes, such as digital printing can be one, once you are trying to integrate that seamlessly in your production flows. And that's basically our contact point with Cardis, working together there as somebody who can integrate that kind of technology, not being a black box, but getting a deeper understanding of the requirements of printing processes, and therefore designing machines fitting to the printing process instead of just putting it in there and hoping it's going to work. This is basically our big advantage. We are used to find a solution for our customers instead of just coming with the standard elements which are just available because we had them in the past. And that is the starting point basically of the interaction with Manz and Cardis. With we basically start now going into more occasions which are driving technology beyond the paper and foil applications, which are quite mature in some mass production, and as well got mature in the example which we are talking about today, with a future going to direct-to-shape applications where we directly print onto parts without having additional process steps of transferring that information of the imprint from one piece to the other. So finally, it's ending up on the product. That is a big challenge for material handling, and that's what we are contributing. So handling the part in a way that you can probably print it. That's a problem for paper, and it's the same problem for materials where you directly want to print onto it. And that is basically the bridge where we want to go, getting printing directly on parts, whether it's a newspaper or a magazine, or whether it can be a injection molded part, which is part of an interior of a car. Both can be printed for digital printing.
Okay, so thank you, Martin. Thank you, Rainer and Arne and Morten. Now you see all the competences and great engineering we have behind, or have behind, and see in future for having a solution for all of this small project I was talking earlier. And now, give me
Yes,
this.
definitely.
You have a question, or is it okay? You have a question?
I have questions, but I don't know if it's now or it's later. Or
no, it's probably, if it's okay, but then we postpone this, because I now would transfer this back to Burda and our, as I said, small project. Give me the chance just to introduce a little bit of Burda and what we're about. You asked me at the beginning already, but want to show some slides and tell the story a little bit in order to understand probably a little bit deeper what is the motivation and the strategy behind our development and our step into digital or individualization of high volume magazines. Burda started as a printing company 120 years ago, and is a publishing company, as you said, now an international media conglomerate. And Burda is continuously works developing his innovative abilities and uses technology to build new businesses. So we are constantly developing new technology. In the later years, probably more on the coders and on the digital world and platforms, but also for products in printing. And so the point is, now you see we call ourselves a consumer media and technology company in order to awake the passion and the needs of our customers. And I think this DNA, as I told earlier, is quite interesting, because this is why we want to deeply understand technologies also in printing. But what is Burda also about when it comes to a publishing house? We what is essentially Burda's aim is the pursuit of happiness. As happiness, as we probably all experience in this day with COVID, happiness is the most important basic human need. And so we believe that our readers and users and consumers care most about this. And I think this picture is nice because you see the mother of our publisher, Anne Burda. And I think it's a perfect picture of the pursuit of happiness. And this is also what drives the whole company. And to give you an overview what this means, Burda's passions. So these are the categories. Basically, we touch our consumers and we touch our customers, and we touch them in their job, in their travel, by food, by living, by fashion, beauty, and also we give them orientation in a digital world. And as I said, Hubert Burda develops new and existing product based on the needs of these different categories. And also, therefore, we want to understand the technology behind. So we offer also marketing, creative services, tech solutions, and of course, printing solutions. And probably one last slide, I think, what drives us today. This is a statement from our CEO, Dr. Kahlen. Digitalization is opening up new opportunities. Our focus is on innovative media products, both domestic and international, as we discussed earlier. And technology is essential for regeneration. And So this is what we about talking today, because it's probably an unusual business case, and this brings me back from the story at the beginning of my personal experience with this pharmacy magazine. Probably you remember. To what we did now at Burda. When I started, I think 4 years ago, with Burda Print, we deeply analyzed together with Dr. Kallen and his team all the mega trends, and this is just examples here. And of course, Burda has a deep understanding how these mega trends and technologies affect our daily life, but also how will this affect the transformation in the printing business and its future. And of course, this field in the printing industry, we found the mass customization is one of the challenging things for us ahead, because print runs are getting smaller, more segmented, more individualized, more I would say direct marketing is coming also to mass magazine and catalog production and so on. And so we kicked off a project, as we already heard, together with Cardis at the time. And to state this is, here, we also talked to all other great companies who develop machines, and especially digital machines, and we love to work together with I would say standard machinery. This makes things a lot easier. But as explained earlier, for this small project we had and for this small challenge, there was no market solution out there. But anyway, at this day we had no business case. We just had mega trends, and we thought we should step into the field and analyze this. And so together with Cardis, we then said, okay, there are a couple of things that are really interesting us, because we think it's might be for the future important that we can integrate in our existing processes. And we said, okay, it's also time to market might be a challenge for us in future. So at the latest point, we need to individualize something in printing products. Best would be in front of the postal box from the customer, but this is not in our duty. And so we said, okay, it might be the mailing room or the saddle stitching or gluing. Also, this is the slowest process, and we think it makes sense to analyze this if we can integrate there. Also, we were highly interested in getting deep in the technology, as I said. So we wanted to understand ink models. We were searching for an open ink model. We wanted to understand how we can develop all the stuff and technologies you hear in a minute about. But again, we had no business model, and so we said, okay, if these mega trends and if these assumptions we have, we probably start off to develop what we then called a machine platform, so that should be scalable into different sizes. Also, it should be industrialized. So as you probably know, we run this in a surrounding which is not a clear room. There's dust, there's a lot of noise, there's heat and cold and so on, and so it needs to be not a lot of downtimes of the machine. So it needs to be a real machine who runs under different circumstances. And I would say the machine platform we then created should be explained with Arne, because he's deeper in that. And I changed the presentation. Arne, would you explain what by the time was our aim to develop? You need to turn on your microphone, I think.
I'm sorry. So I think you are right. We had a lot of question marks in the beginning when we wanted to start the project. we didn't know how the market will evolve and develop, and also with the requirements of mass production, economical-wise and technical-wise. We didn't know at that point of time, okay, what would be the next developments of printheads, of inks, of other possibilities of business models. So we just decided, come on, let's get started. We've built up and discussed various scenarios that we want to cover with a machine platform. And what you can see here is actually what came out of it. So our major goal was really to erect a modular concept that can be modified easily for various applications and for various production processes. So we have the same, what you can see on the left and on the right, we have the same machine base and the same technology inside for either a paper web or for sheet fed materials. And for the right solution of the sheet fed solution, we also implemented two different kinds of substrate transport. One made for only sheets. They could be pre-printed or blank to be able to individualize on that one. And we also developed a special transport system for already stitched magazines, which are not completely flat, to be able to just do full color imprinting on the back of a finished magazine at a very late point in the supply chain or in the production process. And maybe to give you some more or some rough details. So we are focusing on the 1200 DPI technology from Fujifilm Dynetics, and also we have implemented in cooperation with Fujifilm compensation technology to meet all the challenges and also the quality requirements that we've seen for the production of magazines. And maybe one very important point is also the open interfaces, software-wise and hardware-wise, to whatever pre-processes and whatever post-processes might come towards us according to the development of the market, as Ingo has described.
Okay, so thank you, Arne, for the explanation. And now, how does this come now to life? Was the big question again, and this started with the talking we had in front at the beginning, Morten, that our publisher is a kind of challenging the monopoles, and this is the DNA. And I would say we were also a little bit lucky because our colleagues from the publishing house and we together developed then in 2 years ago, we started to step into the pharmacy business from Burda side. And so we developed an ecosystem, I would say. So it's not only about the magazine I showed, and not only about the problem. We have the 4-color inkjet on the backside of a high print run magazine. But it's also about digitalization, digital transformation, and I would say that the fight probably against Amazon or others who probably might step into this pharmacy market or already did in the US. And so we developed an ecosystem for them. So they have a platform where they can sell pharmacy, or you can exchange your experience there. But also this is supported by obviously hopefully good made magazine from our publishing house and printed with Burda Druck. And so this gives us the opportunity then to establish our solution technically wise in the printing department. Today you see we already have a whole bunch of products. It's a product family already for this My Life. And of course, if you want to individualize the back end, the back side, you need some configurator, you need the link or the workflow to the customer. Today we have roughly, I think, 9,000 pharmacies working with us together, and it's a print run every 2 weeks from 1.2 million magazines, and I would say 30-35% out of them are already individualized. So you see, it's quite a logistic-wise and tracking-wise and also production-wise a challenging business. And so we integrated then the solution which we were searching years ago, and also the last couple of years with Burda, because we now had a real business case, and this project we love, and this is actually the story of my life. In detail, it's then quite complex, but also easy, I would say. But there you get an impression now with the how the customers already use, and we think there's more to do with them together. And it's probably not only on the back page of the cover, it's probably also on inserting into the magazine and so on. And therefore, the platform we developed together with Cardis gives us much opportunities to make this scalable and, as I said, industrial-wise integrated into our saddle stitching department in this case. And we are very open to do this in other processes, but yeah, we're happy if a lot of people look through your session this week, and we're happy to discuss how we can proceed this. Yeah, probably I would say
I'm just because we just have to be aware of the time, because we have about 10-12 minutes left.
Yeah, we're pretty much at the end. So this, I don't want to go deeper into detail. This is the product, how you can see it today. And this is from 20 years ago with a imprint flexo print now to a highly competitive solution on the backside of a again on an offset cover. And I think it's good if probably we show you, or Arne, you can comment a little bit. We show probably the film, how the production is done today.
Just real quick, the layout. So I think
the layout, okay.
Yeah.
So you see now the solution that we have done on the basis of the machine platform for production of my life, as Ingo described. So on the upper right corner, I don't know, maybe if you can see my my mouse.
No, we can't. We can't do
Okay.
that. No.
On the upper right corner, we have the feeder of the covers, and then we have going to the left, we have the digital inkjet printing press, imprinting the already pre-printed magazine or the magazine cover or the blank magazine cover, going into the folder, stacker, and then directly feeding it into one feeding unit of the saddle stitcher. The rest of the content is done conventionally, so you can call it a hybrid production solution, being able to individualize the cover of the magazine. And in the end, of course, the stacking, cartonizing all the way up to the pelletizer. And of course, we have various positions for track and trace functionalities to meet the requirements of the distribution of the very small order sizes and the individual content. And I would say now we can jump into the short video. It's been taking off the.
I started the
production, so it's not a professional video.
But the machine looks professional.
So this is actually the printer that you see first. So this is our own development of the user interface. Here you see the pre-printed My Life with some area for personalization or individualization. A steel vacuum belt for the product transport. You just saw the inline compensation to ensure quality all over the product. And now I think the movie stopped.
Yeah, it did.
So I started again.
I will start it again. Yeah.
You started? Okay.
So here you see a very solid machine base. It's the 4-color Samba printed print engine that we've developed, and for generating highest quality, we use the special ink supply system that we had to develop with the very specific ink because yeah, we had some requirements that we had to meet.
That's really nice.
As you see, we have also some older equipment that we had to implement and make it intelligent, also for the overall production of the magazine. And Ingo, how many magazines have we now produced on the system? Do you have that in your mind?
Yeah, I think the print runs 300,000 magazines per every 2 weeks, so 600,000 per week. And we hope to develop this, as I said earlier before. And yeah, it's only the beginning, I would say. And we are happy that we found a solution for a small problem or small challenge we had already 20, 30 years ago in this industry, and now we have a good solution which is productive, which is gives us space to develop, space to integrate in other processes, and we are able to grow with that, and yeah, we're happy that the high print run is now cut down to individualization on an efficient way.
Yeah, I think some figures. So this line can produce up to 8,000 magazines per hour. Just to give you an indication regarding the overall process.
Fantastic. Jean, you have been in inkjet for more than one year. So have you? No.
I've been in inkjet since it started, I guess, with some of the first beta sites. So it's interesting to see what you put together. Great, well done, guys. Especially hearing your history. You know, I think you've put something amazing together. So well done. I have to ask about the drying, because one of the biggest challenges with inkjet everywhere, and still is with a lot of suppliers, is the drying. So tell me about that. Where is the drying fitting in? Because you're putting towards the end of the process, you're actually doing. So where does it dry? I need to ask that question.
Yeah, that's a good point, because that was one of the major challenges that we had. Of course, we wanted to meet the also economical wise the requirements of mass production. So we had to stick to the standard papers, the standard offset papers, to not rise the cost per print on that side. So we had to avoid primer technology. So we came to the point to find a well-fitting ink that can be jetted, which is already challenging to get it through a printhead. And also on the drying side, drying a pre-printed cover and then adding wet fresh ink. We had to implement some special features with air management, with a combination of different wavelengths to really come to a point where we could ensure very stable and reproducible quality.
So when it comes off now, 100% dry, get shipped out straight away?
It's 100% dry, or maybe 98% dry, let's say, at the end. And it's stable enough to be folded. I mean, you saw the post processes, so we run through the folding machine and then through the saddle stitcher. So we have to be dry enough to handle the products after the drying process. So otherwise, the whole inline process would not make sense and would not be successful.
Well, I think after the session, you're going to get a lot of phone calls for everybody wanting to test their paper, because you get a lot of digital substrates. So you're going to have all the paper companies calling you and saying, can we help you test something? So maybe you solve your problems with, some of the substrates. But
I would like to ask another question, and then I know that we prepared some questions too, but I'm not sure we can get to them. But I have another thing that I would really like to think about, and I think maybe, Ingo, this is something that you particularly take care of, because I know that the value of having a small run, personalized, individualized is of course very important, because it brings a lot of revenue, disrupts things, and your competitors can't do the same. But I can't help think about that. A lot of people always talk about that the inkjet cost more. So how have you, if you look at from a total cost of ownership perspective or not ownership, but the magazine and the operational cost, if you have these fast, high quality mass customization, how is it from a financial perspective?
Yeah, exactly. This was the point which I tried to make at the beginning, because on a cost basis, we didn't. There's great technology out there, and you can do it. Since years, you could do that product, but it was not. Didn't pay off. Yeah, and so this was when we came up with the analysis of the total cost of ownership, how you call it, and if you integrate, before it was done, printed, then saddle stitched, then sent to the mailing room. The mailing guy was doing all the, sampling, and 50 magazines for them together, and so on. And we now integrated at least 2 steps together. We integrated the mailing room and the saddle stitching, and we count directly on the tracking. We didn't talk about the tracking. The tracking is very important. We track if the customer wants to have 50 magazines, he needs to get 50 magazines, and otherwise you have to bypass that and reproduce and so on. And this is where we say, okay, the whole process has cost, let's say, 100, yeah, and this is how we need to challenge this. And the uplift, to be honest, needs to come, or the innovation surplus, I would say, needs then to come with the end customer. So if the end customer now says, okay, I want to have full place to play on, and also I need data and content. So there's Burda, a company, we work together with the pharmacists, and we support them. And there is more turnover, but the product itself needs to be at cost, I would say. So the printing is more expensive than the Flexo, but it has more possibility. But in the whole process, we are at cost.
Okay, fantastic. As I said to you before, we actually expanded this session to also have Arne and Rainer and Martin along. I said to you that we would like to come and film it, because this is actually the first time that you show it in a real live thing, right? Isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. They're still shy. They didn't want to show it, but we showed it now.
So what I just wanted to say, and I want to extend it, because this is what I like about this. Everybody from the vendor side always says that our development comes based on customer needs and customer demands. But as you said, Ingo, a long time ago, you started the research process of finding somebody who could do this. And there's a lot of publishers that probably faces some of the same challenges and issues as you do. And now you had to invent together with Cardis and Mans, you had to essentially invent something yourself in order to get what you needed. There's probably other people that need it. So as a final note, I'm very interested in coming and filming your story, so we can, show a little bit more, talk to you a little bit more, curate the story a little bit into a more dense format, so we can get people to know what you're doing. So an open invitation from our side.
Great. I think we take this and we invite you to our place to show it in real.
You're not going without me. You're not going without me.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Yeah. I hope COVID will give us the opportunities to meet all in real together. But again, Morten, give me just a minute to say I said before, We really love the engineering of all the great machine developers out there, and we totally understand that for niche product as we have, they're not able, or they didn't want probably to develop a solution. But here we have a solution which fitted our needs, and this is what we want to talk about.
Of course. Guys, I want to thank you very much. We have to run. The next session is actually, you should listen to it. It could be inspiring. It's Randy Vandergriff, who has 5 launches of Kodak equipment in the inkjet since 20 years. So he has probably more knowledge than all of us together. So if you want to learn with us and join us for the next session. So thank you for your time here, and I'm sure we will see each other again soon. Thank you, guys.
Great, Mom. Was a pleasure. Bye-bye.